This is Joel, and this is my 1993 S10 Blazer. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 things I don't like about my Blazer. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love these. I have 2 of them, and after I get a better paying job, gonna be looking at getting 3, and I already have my eyes on a 94 GMC Jimmy with a 5-speed. That's a 4-door 5-speed. To be exact, it's got a clutch and a H pattern, so it's gonna be very fun to drive. Not too sure when I'll get it. It needs an engine and some brake work, so might be a little while. But I know the guy that has it, and he's willing to sell it to me for $1,500. So I'll go for it when I'm able to afford it. Anyhow, 5 things I don't like. All right, let's get started on the 4-wheel drive actuation system on these. It is mounted. Let's see. We're under. This is on the passenger side. Well, you see these 2 bolts right here. That's where your actuator's on the other side of it. And there's a vacuum line that goes to it. The S series that are 4-wheel drive, they all have this, and they never work. I'm gonna be fixing the 4-wheel drive my other Blazer on the 92. This one on the 93 is a push button 4-wheel drive, which they never work. I'm not going to bother with this one. I think it's actually a switch that's bad, and why I think that is because when I first got it, it worked. I'd hit the button, the light would come on, and I'd hear it engage. But now if I hit the button, nothing. It doesn't even light up, nothing. I think it's actually the switch. Could be wrong. I think it's more so an electrical type of deal that's up with it. On the other one, it is a vacuum leak. I can hear it, and it also needs an actuator too. Because I played around with the actuator in my other Blazer, and it's pretty worn. It needs a new one. It's like $50, so it ain't too bad. So, vacuum actuated 4-wheel drive. The other thing I don't like is everything underneath the hood is crammed. It's kind of, this is, in the early 90s, that's when they started to cram everything under the hood to where there's not much room for activities like there is in cars from the 70s and 80s. Which I really like on Jeremy's 1980 C10. There is so much room under the hood next to the engine. I could sit next to the engine. Actually, as a matter of fact, I was kind of looking at trying to figure out what was wrong with my friend Nate's 1991 C1500, and I was able to get under the engine, get under the bonnet here with it open, and or hood if you want to call it. I'm from the States, we all call it a hood. Over in the UK, they call it a bonnet. I actually kind of like the term bonnet a little bit more. But anyhow, in this C1500, I was able to sit right next to the engine just fine. I wish these were like that. I mean, you could make it like that. I mean, another guy I know, Grayson, he, in his 86 S10, he actually took a lot out. It was a 2.8, and then he put a 4.3 in it and carbureted it, which is the only 4.3 I've ever seen carbureted. I'm really impressed with his work that he did. But yeah, that one I could sit next to the engine as well. But it takes a lot of work to get there. And with an effect of that, of how it's set up, it's actually, yeah, so that's, I guess, one thing in itself, I guess. But oil filter, there's remote lines going to it. As you can see, this one goes to the back of the block. This one goes around back that way. This one goes on over that way. And there's crimps, which you can see right about there. They go bad, and over time they leak. They'll also leak from the gaskets here and on the back of the block. They'll also leak from the gasket and the other gasket somewhere over in there. And you'll get a big puddle, and all your oil is gone. And it can actually happen while you're going down the road. So it's a little sketchy with that. But usually they don't typically just blow out. They gradually will leak. You'll see them get covered in oil at first, then it'll start to drip. And that's when you want to get them replaced. It's a $150 part, which isn't too bad. Very hard to replace. Whenever mine go bad, I just take them to the garage up the road, and he charges me about $220 to do them. So I'm like, hey, that's fine. My other Blazer's gonna need them actually. Probably sometime next year, I would imagine, or they might even last until 2018. I don't know. But either way, they'll get replaced on my other one too, like they were on this one. The other thing is where the spark plugs are located. You gotta go through the wheel well to access them. Oh yeah, and also back to the oil filter. The way when I change the oil, when I replace the filter, actually what I do is I jack it up, take this wheel off, take the inner fender well out, and then it's right there. It's really easy to get after you do that. But actually what I could even do is eventually, well, I don't want to ruin the inner fender wells though, because these ones are in really good shape, but I imagine that you could probably actually cut here and then get like a little hinge and have a door that's like has like a spring on it so it stays shut, and you could probably make an easy access door to the oil filter if you really wanted to. Someday I might, but this one has really good inner fender wells and I don't want to ruin them, so I kind of don't really want to do that. But typically, it's as most people do, you just take the air box out, then you're able to get in there. Actually, there's a decent amount of space if you do that, you can get it. But lifting it up out is a pain in the ass, so that's why I like to go this way, because it's just kind of real easy. But yeah, spark plugs, they're also a pain because they are mounted on the side of the block, way under there. There's no room to work with. You got to go through the wheel well to get to the spark plugs. The other thing I don't like is the fuel pump. If it goes out, you gotta drop the entire tank. There's no door. I mean, you could put in an access door, just like for the oil filter. For the fuel pump, you can make an access door if you really wanted to. You just gotta very carefully and gingerly cut it out, and then put the hinge and spring loaded and whatnot so it stays shut. And then have a, it's where you can open it. There's some other vehicles that have that. These do not, so you gotta drop the tank typically, which is a huge pain. But that's really about it. Everything else, I mean, these things are great. And I'll put a link in the description of the video of stuff I like about it. There's quite a bit. I'll talk about some of it, can't talk about everything because it would take way too long.